to present a paper, especially titled Intelligent Spirituality, is theological or spiritual encounter with the agricultural space. But the title, when the discussion we have decided, the politics of agriculture. That is not politics of agriculture.
I can't follow it.
Politics of agriculture.
Switch off the fans. I think if you switch off the fans.
You can come here.
Politics of agriculture. Is it? Okay.
You can come.
Now the whole environment is so beautiful. Yeah. See?
The title itself required some of the definitions of politics, and also it required the definition of agriculture, and some other things also I need to define in the course of my presentations. But I think that we should deal three major aspects in this discussion. One is the religion, science, and politics. They are treated as three distinctive realms by many. A few are trying to link religion with the science, but place the politics out of their concern. A good number of politicians found religion is a means to power, and therefore they have adulterated religion and politics. Contemporary religion has devoid spirituality, science has undermined rationality, and politics have denigrated commitment. A search for agrarian spirituality is a search for true religion. I am using this word true religion is not in the sense of which used by Bonhoeffer. True science and true politics. That is qualitatively different, which has given by the current conditions of the society. Agriculture is a human engagement with nature and society. Agricultural production is a chain of relations which built upon the values of sharing, nurturing, caring, and mutually fulfilling at its optimum. These are the values which religions are trying to promote from time immemorial. These are the building blocks of political system. And science evolved from the aspirations to tool, mechanism of sharing, nurturing, caring, and fulfilling. This paper presenting herewith is entitled The Politics of Agriculture. In this presentation, we are presenting four keywords. They are sharing, nurturing, caring, and fulfilling. To explore the divergent meaning of politics in a wider sense in the context of agrarian spirituality and the politics of agriculture. The word sharing denotes social dimension of agriculture, nurturing denotes technological and scientific dimension, caring provides political dimensions, and fulfilling concerning with identity and spirituality in its wider sense. There are some more clarifications required in this discussion. The term social has been used as a synonym for politics in many occasions in the literature of political science. Aristotle's ever-remembering dictum, man is by nature a political animal, was identifying politics with social existence. John Locke distinguished the concept of social from the concept of politics in 18th century. He underpinned the concept of civil society to differentiate human social existence from his political existence. In later, Hegel deepened the concept of civil society in his work, The Philosophy of the Right. This paper maintained a conceptual difference between social and political. Science and technology are treated as two different concepts. Science bears a spiritual dimension, technology is mechanical application of knowledge. This paper divided into two parts. The first part of the paper is attempting to answer the following questions. What is agriculture? How science and technology implied in the agricultural production define the political and spiritual relations of humans in pre-modern and modern societies. The second part of the paper is placing the question that on what extent agrarian spirituality is capable to place an alternative politics. Theoretically, this paper upholds an evolutionary position in the understanding of the religion, science, and politics. What is agriculture? There are a number of definitions to agriculture. One can easily define it as a human activity aimed to produce foodstuffs. Nowadays, agriculture is not simply producing foodstuffs, but it is widely producing raw materials for industrial production. In a historical sense, the invention of agriculture is a redefinition of human and human-nature relationships. In Marxian perspective, agriculture is a manifestation of the dialectical relationship between man and nature. In eco-Marxism, there are two kinds of contradictions. Thomas Homer Dixon and James O'Connor define these are primary and secondary contradictions. The primary contradiction is a contradiction between man and nature. From this contradiction, all other contradictions are evolved. Man subjugates nature and thereby he subjugates his fellow beings. Man conquered soil and thereby he conquered the fecundity of women. He produced wheat and sons. In other sense, agriculture is a redefining process of human self. The invention of agriculture is a landmark in human history. Man started a settled life by the invention of agriculture. The beginning of settled life provides properties. The ownership provides a proprietary identity. The primary differences in primitive societies mark a boundary between ours and others. The other consciousness is built upon the notion of self. The self defined in the primitive communities in the name of animals and trees. Such self-defined communities are known as totem groups. The totem groups are primary political units. They have stipulated certain principles of governance within the totem and in between the totems. They have their own gods and rituals. Everything referred in and around the totem is in the name of trees and animals. The animatism is the primitive form of religion in Greece, Rome, and in India. The primitive communities believe in spirits which dwells in trees and animals. In primitive communities, there is no difference between religion and science, politics, and agriculture. Worship is a form of self-expression and imparting of knowledge, and farming administered through the rituals as a political community. Rituals have a political and religious phase. Emily Durkheim argued that religion is society itself and by its rituals cements social unity. The unity is the central feature of the agrarian community's spirituality. Religion, politics, and agriculture transform in the course of history in a dialectical manner. The anthropologists of the 19th century believed that human society progressed from animism to monotheism in a linear way. The rise of Semitic religions denotes this transition from animatism to monotheism. Anthropomorphism replaced animatism. Man entered into a new age of rationality by mastering nature with the handmaid of technology. The transformations of agrarian relations also transformed family and tribes. As Chinnu Achebe noted, tribes uprooted to plant nations. The vestiges of tribes continued in the nation as a national image. Agrarian symbols are still surviving in new forms in contemporary state and politics. The national politics imagined new agrarian relations. Colonialism had changed agrarian relations of the colonized at the beginning. New nations introduced new agrarian policies to enrich national consciousness. In essence, agriculture is not a mere activity of foodstuff production, but an overarching discursive enterprise to transform society. Agriculture is the activity which produces life and social relations in its wider sense. I'm skipping subtitles, science and technology and grammar. There is no concise definition to science. Science always claimed rationality, but in fact it is notional. It imitated to align with the truth, but one scientific truth may challenge in another context. However, Francis Bacon has invented a new schema for the derivation of truth in the 15th century, makes an apparent break in knowledge, which heralded a new epoch of scientific revolution. This revolution challenged pre-modern knowledge systems. Hundreds of monasteries demolished, thousands of women burned in the name of witch hunting. The nexus of science and technology was the central feature of the Agrarian project, which wholeheartedly welcomed by imperialist power mongers. Science simply means logical and rational understanding of a phenomenon. Rational is not a definitive term. During the 19th century, rationality is the central pillar of positivism. At the end of the 20th century, the so-called positivist understanding of rationality is questioned. A rational understanding is connected with the understanding of self-perception. Such an understanding encompasses irrational rituals and pantheistic cultures and subjective mystic experiences of the individual and collective faith experiences of the communities as rational. However, a rational experience found its meaning in a discursive context. In Baconian system, knowledge is power. An elaboration of this dictum says, knowing is mastering and enslaving. Inventions of science were a process of knowing, but it had enslaved and mastered the nature. The politics of domination started at the level of science, which had threatened the relations of nature. Murray Bookchin commented that domination of the nature is the root of the subjugation of women and the stratification of the society. Thus, science in modernity was an oppressive device in a sense. This statement is not an outright denial of the liberative power of modern science. If we ignore the achievements of modern science, it might be a ludicrous act. A sensibility to historical understanding is essential. Man is a historical being. His past is a repository, not a mere memory. Past is not a given one, but a constructive understanding of the justification of present. Man had no authentic past except a political imagination of the past. Thus, man has no true nature except an ontological understanding of the nature. In this paper, I am trying to illustrate that nature, the concept of nature, is an ontological construct, not a purely given one. The science and political power are engaging with this ontological nature. Technology plays a key role in the mastering and enslavement of nature. Thus, the nexus of science, technology, and political power have been constructing a nature in ontological manner. Farming communities had used technologies from the time immemorial, but their ontological understanding of the nature was different. Mythology has provided some information. The king Prithu faces a great drought. He had vigorously invoked goddess Earth to feed his people. The goddess Earth appeared in front of King Prithu as a cow and appealed to him. If he will not kill and eat her, she will feed his people. Prithu agreed with the goddess Earth and she permitted him to milking her. This mythology provides ontology of nature. Nature is an incarnation of the divine elements. The human relation to nature is covenantal one. Historically, this mythology marked the transition of human civilization. It is noted as the beginning of animal husbandry. The Vedic gods were beef eaters. The meat of the cow must deserve to the most respected guest during the Vedic period. Meat of the cows and bulls widely used during the occasions of sacrifices. Naturally, the beef-eating communities construct an ecological ethics for the preservation of cows. In India, there are many temples for animals, including dogs, but there is no single temple for cows. Cows and bulls treated as properties and submitted them to the temples. The image of the Kamadhenu or Kalpavruksha provides the ontology of nature. The course of human history replaces older ontological understandings. Political power plays a vital role in the production of the knowledge on nature. Manu restricted Brahmins from eating meat to escalate their social status. The Muslim invasion disturbed the social power of the nation. The natives propagated that Muslims are beef eaters. Among the Indian population, 20% of the people belonged in cattle rearing communities. The Hindu fundamentalist group listed 480 communities are belonged in the Yadava community and proclaimed these communities belonged into a single nationality. However, in Bihar and UP, Yadav communities and Muslims have separate political movements but have an electoral coalition. Fundamentalist Hindu forces want to spread communal violence on the basis of totem identity. But modern economic relations provide wider platform for a coalition. The British invaders are also depicted as beefeaters. The cow gradually incarnated as the symbol of the Indian nationalism in a political discourse against the Islamic British invasions. However, India enjoyed fifth position in meat export. On the total export, 72% is raw red meat. Among the 60% is the meat of cows, bulls, and buffalo, even though the cow is sacred. Animal husbandry is the backbone of agrarian civilization. Totem identities evolved in new forms not only in India but all over the world. The politics of agriculture demands to address a wide range of questions in the midst of communalism and terrorism. Sometimes traditional communities are capable to affirm modern ontological notions of nature. In Gujarat, the cattle rearing communities integrated with the white revolution, but in Bihar, it gave way to pink revolution and leather industries flourished. Economic structure is an important factor in the ontological understanding of the nature. This is not a claim that economy is the base of ontology. Ontology can change economy, but ontology can't survive without a material base. The politics of agriculture can be addressed from different levels. The imperialist notion of the politics of agriculture appeared in the late 1960s when US established hegemony over the wheat production. In 1970s, US placed its motto, "Food is power," in the US Congress. It is the very year that Norman Borlaug invented genetically modified seeds. US political will reflected in the form of green revolutions. The imperialist dictum food for power constituted a new security perspective, which promote human security perspective. The concept of human security redefined UN security conception in 1990. Before 1990s, the United Nations institution followed the concept of balance of power theory, but from 1993 onwards, they are following human security concept. UN Security Council officially declared its human security policy in 1993. In this declaration, the primary concern was food security. Food security concept accompanied a technology-driven transformation of the agricultural sector. A wide range of structural adjustment policies implemented to establish US-initiated transformation of the agricultural sector. Last 400 years witnessed a systematic change in the agricultural sector for the sake of imperialism. Imperialism is a political concept which established the hegemony of the West on the rest of the nations. Trade and commodification of resources have been used as a simple tool to establish the power of Western countries. The concept of commodity market commoditized all life forms, including the fecundity of women. Profit is not a mere term in economics, but it is a determined social power. Profit seeking, profit making, profit sharing are the...
Shall we take a small break? I think you have covered about 50